Right, all you music makers, video game players, and entertainers who are all nominated for awards from around the world for the night. Welcome to the second night spectacular of the 11th annual 2025 Indy Awards. I am your host from the East Coast, DJ Smokey, and the man who was supposed to bring us in for this is currently dancing over by the indigo lights on the indigo carpet right now, none other than Dan the Weatherman Stew. At least say hi to the people, at least. Hey! Welcome to the Indy Awards, people! I'm trying to get down with the beat! Real professional, man. Real professional. But to put this train back on the tracks, folks, I think it's time for us to explain to you guys and gals at home what's on tap for this year's second night of the Indy Awards. Because we kick things off by finding out which one of you track creators was the most creative for the year with the GTA Online Creator of the Year Award. Next up after that, we have for you wrestling fans out there, which match in the world of entertainment was one of the best ones you've seen this year with the WWE Match of the Year Award. And yes, Carla the Maestro said we should put the letters on the front of it because we weren't able to watch matches outside the company this year. I mean, fair enough, fair enough. Then you have which one of you creative musical talents was able to make a cover song better than most with the Indie Cover Song of the Year. And we've got some really cool covers that we will be playing throughout the night leading into that award. And besides that bit of interesting things, folks, we find out if Karrion Kross will be able to keep his interesting streak going with the Most Interesting Person of 2024 award. And Carla the Maestro said it's a foregone conclusion, but we're going to have the award regardless. Then finally, last but not least, and hopefully before our vocal cords wear out, we wrap up the night with another edition of the Music Village Differencemaker Award, which according to Carla the Maestro, they're still trying to find the envelope for, and hopefully they can find it before the end of the night. Because as the winner in there, we need to know the answer for that. And I guess while Carla the Maestro are scrambling over in the corner to look for the said envelope, Dan the Weatherman still dancing on the indigo carpet in the corner, I might as well sharpen my tie, or more or less, tie it a little bit tighter so it can stay on this time. Shine up a couple of the awards and put on those indie lights pretty bright on them. Because when we return, folks, we will go into our first award of the night, which is none other than the GTA Online Creator of the Year Award, right after a word from our movie comedic sponsors. So while you're searching for that envelope over in the corner, calling the Maestro, let the music ride a little bit, and let's get ready to bring a night two extravaganza into everybody's homes and get this award show started, folks. When four kids go to an abandoned library, they find a whole new world of books with something extraordinary lurking within. Legra Natalie, Grant Freely, Tiffy Phyllis, and Ian Dolly all head to the Indy Zone. Get ready to take your reading to the next level this summer, coming soon to a theater near you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and I guess a couple of you nominees waiting in the chairs in the corner for your name to be called for an award. Welcome back to the Indy Awards. Now, I would have said the full title, but I think by now you guys and gals at home know what this is all about. And secondly, Carla the Maestro had a lot of work yesterday trying to fit it into the box, so we decided to make it a little bit easier for him. And on top of all of that, speaking of the box and what we think outside of, I told you I was going to turn that into a movie idea. Thank goodness that movie guy was able to do it for us in less than 15 hours. He's good. He's good at his craft. Pretty creative, just like me. And speaking of giving a pat on the back for people's creativity, folks, it's time for us to go into the first award of the night, which is none other than the GTA Online Creator of the Year, which is an award that goes to one track creator that can proudly say that he is a track master when it comes to Grand Theft Auto Online. And not to mention a person who is a maestro of sorts when it comes to creating tracks. No, not you, Carla the Maestro. It's a maestro of, track creation. That's what we were trying to go for. Anyway, Carla the Maestro, just keep finding that envelope over in the corner. And Dan the Weatherman's do, if you will, please read the nominees for this year's GTA Online Creator of the Year. And here are your nominees for this year's Creator of the Year. D-Dane. I like that name. Well, Dan the Weatherman Stu, I like that name as well, because this guy, who's been a part of the Indy Awards for the longest amount of time, in the form of being someone who was recently nominated for the Track of the Year, and suddenly appeared from out of nowhere to be a part of this award, coming up with crazy figure eight tracks and other tracks that really caught us by surprise when we kicked off the 9.0 series. But could tonight be his night to take home the biggest award for Grand Theft Auto Online? I guess we'll wait and see. Mr. Rickster 666. I put the extra 6 in there because his tracks are devilish. Dan the Weatherman Stu, I would have to agree, because anybody who I got a feeling was inspired by all of those old school NASCAR Thundarr tracks and decide to turn it into something like this is somebody who is definitely devious in their line of work, and definitely proves that there's more than going into a round circle for a cool racetrack with cool racetrack cars. Or race-like cars on race-like tracks? And I think that's the best way to describe it. Come on, Jay! And Indy Awards legend! Yes, Dan the Weatherman Stu, definitely somebody who was definitely a legend in the world of the Indy Awards. And for those who don't believe me, his original name was Kamaji 2002. He went head-to-head with Odin 2008 for an Indie Creator of the Year award several years back, and was so close to getting it, he could taste it. But tonight, with all the crazy tracks that he was able to bring to the field that brought him to the dance for the night, I got a feeling tonight might be his night. Who knows? Who knows? Vax 4223. Ring Around the Track Creator. Ring Around the Track Creator indeed, even though that sounds a little bit off. But the reason I got a feeling you brought it up is because not only the crazy tracks he's able to bring above the clouds, across the trees, over the seas, and even at amusement parks truly prove that this man can bring a track to any place, anywhere, at any time, sort of reminding me of another track creator of Vinewood or Gilmore 50, or even other track creators that we mentioned in the past, which is pretty cool, and not to mention very innovative. True Motor Racer, the winner of the awards last night. Yeah, Dan the Weatherman Stu, the winner of the award from last night, the Track of the Year winner himself for the 9.0 series, cementing himself in the record books, and at the same time has a chance next year to go home with the Track of the Decade award. But outside of that bit of fluff we put on this man's name, there's another bit of fluff we forgot to mention. The fact that this guy was able to win Track of the Year with the only track he created for this year tells you how impressive this man is, and not to mention someone who is very good at his craft, who was able to actually modify the tracks that he's had over the years, slowly but surely giving them a brainiac-like facelift, showing that to be a creator, you gotta evolve. And he proves it with the track he was able to get for the Track of the Year. So, bravo! And a round of applause for you as well, too. And with all those nominees read, Dan the Weatherman Stu, if you will, please read off the winner for this year's Creator of the Year of the GTA variety that I almost forgot to say. All right! And the winner for the GTA Online Creator of the Year award is, drum roll, please. He's finally going home with the big one, Kamachi. Congratulations! Well, all right. The fact that he was finally able to win an Indy Award for Creator of the Year, and I got a feeling the fact of having 2 tracks nominated for the Track of the Year definitely put him over the leaderboards for it. So congratulations to Kamachi, and we can't wait to see what sort of crazy tracks you got coming down the tubes for next year. Because you got to defend the title, you know what I mean? And I guess with that said, folks, I think it's time for us to head back to that music once again. And when we return, we'll be back with our next award of the night, the WWE Match of the Year award, as the 2025 11th Annual Indie Awards rolls on, right after a word from our movie comedic sponsors. So don't lose your seat in the Opera House just yet, folks, and stay tuned.
Let's go.
20 years after uncovering the secret of the ancient battleground, one legendary prince looks to claim the throne his father once lost. Keanu Reeves, Brendan Fraser, and Jet Li as Prince Kirishima in The Palace of War 2, Battle for the Blood Throne. Get ready to feel the full weight of the crown this summer, coming soon to a theater near you. Alright, all you nominees who has your speech written in your head or written inside your pockets, welcome back to the 2025 Indie Awards. Yes, I know Carl and the Maestro force a habit. But besides that, I didn't know you guys were working on a sequel to The Palace of War. And to get Keanu Reeves and Jet Li in it, not bad. It's gonna make for one hell of a fight on film, too. And speaking of fights on film, folks, I think it's time for us to go into our next award of the night, which is none other than the WWE Match of the Year. which proves that your match over a calendar year was able to make people say, "Fight forever, this is awesome," or "Oh my god," or even the last one that gets bleeped out by certain networks of "Holy," well, you guys know where I'm going with this one because, FCC regulations, we can't say it. Wish we could, but we can't. But besides that, Dan What a Man's Do, if you will, please read off the nominees for this year's Match of the Year. And here are your nominees for this year's Match of the Year. Dragon Lee versus Chad Gable on a Saudi Arabian episode of Monday Night Raw. Yeah, Dan the What a Man's Do, this match was definitely something for the history books because not only it would be one of the first Monday Night Raws they would have in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, but at the same time, the absolute sheer craziness of this match with a luchador going up against a mat specialist like Chad Gable, and for one of the moves during the match to involve a running belly-to-belly suplex release off the apron to the floor? Ouch! Ouch! That's painful! Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk at Bad Blood inside Hell in a Cell! That's a deep gash in his head! Yeah, Dan What a Man's Do, that is a pretty deep and nasty looking gash on the head of Drew McIntyre, and this rivalry that spanned from last year's WrestleMania all the way until, well, Bad Blood definitely lived up to the name of the pay-per-view because there was a lot of bad blood and animosity between these two before, but this one took it to a whole nother level, and especially seeing the fact that it would end with not only a missed Claymore kick and a spinal realignment, followed up by a GTS with a mouthful of beads, and of course, I forgot to mention the horrifying gash on the top of Drew McIntyre's head from taking a diamond-plated tool case to the head. That's nuts! But it proves that they really, really didn't like each other now, didn't it? Gunther versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship! A rocky story indeed! Yeah, Dan What a Man's Do, a rocky story indeed, and after being trained by Chad Gable, we would see Sami Zayn being cheered on by his friends and family to win the gold for him to end the 666-day streak of the Ring General after the Ring General took him too lightly, which I got a feeling is something that might happen at this year's WrestleMania. I don't know. Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40 for the Undisputed Championship. Cinema Magic. I know what you were about to say. It was Match of the Year quality, but that's not to be judged just yet. But the fact that this story went on for a full year after Cody would pick himself up, win the Royal Rumble again, and under bloodline rules, overcoming the odds in a match that even brought a tear to Samantha Irving's eye and life back into the world of wrestling again, definitely proves that sometimes things are definitely worth the wait, and to let a story play out to its end is something definitely worth seeing on camera. And with all those nominees read off, Dan What a Man's Do, if you will, please read the winner for this year's WWE Match of the Year. And the winner for this year's Match of the Year is... drum roll, please. Not a shocker here. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40! Almost screwed up the title, but still congratulations! You know, I was really hoping for Sammy versus Gunther at WrestleMania, or even Chad Gable versus Dragon Lee, but people really did love the fact that Cody was able to finish his story, and it shows. Voted by you, the fans at home, so a round of applause for you, and congratulations, Cody Rhodes, and you can get your award in the mail over the next 3 to 6 business days, because it's in the shape of a giant W, and according to Carl and the Maestro, it might have to be mailed in by air shipping with that. How much would it cost to ship something from here to Gainesville, Georgia? That much? Okay, we'll work on the shipping later, but until then, folks, I think it's time for us to head back to that music once again, and when we return, we'll be back with our next award of the night, which is the Indie Cover Song of the Year, as the 2025 11th Annual Indie Awards rolls on, right after a word from our movie comedic sponsors. And before I forget, all of the nominees' songs will be played into the next part of the show to give you one last listen and gander to the said songs. So don't lose your spot in your said seat for the award show, folks, and stay tuned. After a planetary incident that turns the world upside down, one man, a sorcerer, and a creature all team up to bring humanity back to its rightful place. Natalie Portman and Chris Helmsworth in Thundarr the Barbarion, the movie. Get ready to fight for an alternative future this summer. Coming soon to a theater near you. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and you indie music lovers out there, welcome back to the 2025 Indie Awards that I almost called Music Village because I almost got confused with that, and Carl and the Maestro said probably because of that cool trailer they had for Thundarr the Barbarion. Yeah, it's about time he got his own film. And I'm surprised Dolph Lundgren wasn't called for the role, but hey, the person they had listed was a pretty cool person to be part of that film. And I would like to thank Reddit for the idea, because you guys out there were able to come up with the movie cast, so it definitely shows your creativity on making a mock movie. And I wish I could have thanked the person who did come up with it, but the name of the person got deleted. So you know you got your flowers out there for bringing that to the forefront. But speaking of bringing things to the forefront, folks, I think it's time for us to go into our next award of the night, which is none other than the Indie Cover Song of the Year, which goes to one person, an individual who is able to put their own spin on a classic version of a song and make it that much better or different than the original. And with that being said, Dan the Weatherman Stu, if you will, please read off the nominees for this year's 3rd annual Indie Cover Song of the Year. Can't believe we've been doing this for 3 years. All right! And here are your nominees for this year's Indie Cover Song of the Year. Postmodern Jukebox featuring Sunny Holiday with Grandma Got Ran Over by a Reindeer while dressed as wood. Well, very observant, Dan the Weatherman Stu. She was dressed up as a reindeer with some pretty cool music in the background as she would dance her way on stage to perform a Christmas classic and something I want to hear every single year during the said holiday. Because, you know, hearing the same old version of a Christmas song after so many years, it does tend to wear on the soul. So the fact that they were able to do this, thumbs up in my book. If Disturbed wrote It Wasn't Me by Shaggy by McLucky. Music Inception. Well, Dan Weatherman Stu, it's not music inception, it's a what-if scenario painted out beautifully by the new nominee for this year, McLucky. And this would be the song we would get introduced to from his work. Thanks to somebody on Twitter who brought it to our attention, and we've been listening ever since. And he's been coming out with some pretty cool cover songs that's been noticed by the original artists themselves, which is blown away. And yeah, I'm blown away by it too. Frog Leap Studios with their song of Funky Cole Medina by Tone Low. Yep, the man of the hour himself, Frog Leap Studios, the metal man of the world, and someone who could definitely put a cool cover on a classic hip-hop, classic song such as this. But at the same time, I'm wondering one day, will he ever do a metal cover of La Raza by Kid Frost? How would that sound even? But before I get lost in thought about it, folks, Dan Weatherman Stu, next nominee, please. You know, to dig me out of this hole. OHP with their song of the Cyan by the Ace of Base. And a cool mohawk to go with it. A cool mohawk indeed, and that's the reason why we call this man the Metal Mohawk. And no, Carl in the Mike Show, he doesn't really have a metal mohawk, but that would be pretty crazy if you ever got one. But to get back on track here, folks, the fact that he was able to do a metal cover of a classic 80s song of the Ace of Bases, The Sign, amongst other cool songs he was able to do, including a couple of years ago even giving a shout out to Toto with their song of Africa in an open field with a cool metal music video, which definitely shows that he loves the craft and he definitely brings something different to the table, like that metal mohawk that I wish I could grow, but you know, bald, can't grow that. No Resolve with their cover of 8675309 with Tommy Two-Tone in the music video. That's cool. That's cool indeed, because this man, when we first discovered him, was when they did a cool musical cover of Kiss from a Rose. And I think if they had a chance, and I got a feeling if Seal heard the song, he probably would have been a part of it. And that would have made for a pretty cool music video if they don't have already enough cool music videos in their repertoire for their cool metal songs. If you don't believe me, check out the song they did of a cover for Danger Zone and come back to me. That had Jets in it. And I guess with me, you know, ooh and ahhing over cool music videos from cover artists, Dan the Weatherman Stu, if you will, please read the winner of this year's Indie Cover Song of the Year. And the winner for the 3rd annual Indie Cover Song of the Year award is, drum roll please, Frog Leap Studios with their song of Funky Cole Medina by Tone Low. Congratulations! Congratulations indeed, and big ups to none other than Frog Leap Studios for pulling off this metal cover, and good luck on that current tour that you're on, and we can't wait to see you back in the studios once again delivering metal covers to the world. Because I got a feeling the next one you have might be a hit to win you another award. Who knows? Who knows? And I guess with that said, folks, we might as well head back to that music once again. And when we return, we'll be back with the most interesting person of 2024 award as the 2025 11th annual Indie Awards rolls on right after a word from our movie comedic sponsors. So don't get a refill on that soda just yet, folks, and stay tuned. "10 years after his arch nemesis revealed his ultimate secret, one boy genius looks to return home to get back the place he once lost. Julia Sweetie, Isabella Baser, and Kyle Harrison Brightkoff as Dexter in Dexter's Lab Science Day. Get ready for a fine day for science this summer, coming soon to a theater near you." All right, ladies and gentlemen, and those out there who are currently holding on to their awards for photo ops, welcome back to the Indie Awards. And yeah, thank you once again to Reddit for the cool movie idea for Dexter's Lab and the cast that would go along with it. Because originally I think we were going to have the guy who played Boris that was featured in 007 to play Dexter. Then I realized he doesn't have that strong of an accent to play him, and I can only imagine him saying, "You are stupid, you are stupid." Yeah, I don't know. He'll find a way. I got a feeling it still would have worked, but your idea was cool too. And speaking of cool, folks, I think it's time for us to go into our next award of the night, which is none other than the most interesting person of 2024. Even though it's the most interesting person of insert year here, but either way you look at it, folks, it's an award that goes to one individual that proved after a whole calendar year that they are cooler than the other side of the pillow, or somebody that I got a feeling the Fonz would say, "Hey," to, or as The Rock would say to somebody at once, "You all right." So without further ado, Dan the Weatherman Stewie, if you will, please read off the nominees for this year's most interesting person of the year. You know, I think that's what we might have to call it in the near future, but I like the year insert there to let us know which one it is. And here are your nominees for the most interesting person of the year. It's already starting to stick. Dead meat. Wait a minute, why are we voting for dead meat? No, Dan the Weathersman Stu, it is not Dead Meat we're voting for. It's the cast of Dead Meat, a horror movie channel on YouTube that is able to highlight kills and talk to really cool people, including none other than Bo Dallas of the Wyatt family, amongst other people from around the world of horror, to bring their own horror spin to things, as well as kill counts from around the world, now including video games. So we decided to add not only Chelsea, James, and Zoran a part of the count, and the cast and crew of Dead Meat 2. We can't forget them because they are what make the kills go round. Know what I mean? The winner for the past 5 years, Karrion Kross. That guy scares the crap out of me. Well, Dan the Weatherman Stu, you better get your composure about you, because this man, besides punching cinder blocks through people's heads, dive bombing them on the back of their heads, and squeezing the oxygen out of their skulls, would be somebody who would be featured around the world. Not only this past year was able to talk to the guy from A Bronx Tale, was able to be a part of Chris Van Vliet's show, even was able to meet up with Jesse the Body Ventura and the Jesse Off, which is hilarious, and the fact was featured in a cool film that we were able to review for the Indie Radio Arcade of the Iron Sheik Massacre. So yeah, this guy's name is all over the place and very inspirational with his words and interviews that he's able to hold. Definitely proving that the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Don't tell him I said that, because he might choke me out. New Legacy Inc. Long-time winners, long-time friends. And we're not actually friends with them, but either way you look at it, folks, the big boys and girls of wrestling and the glitchers of wrestling games, definitely a fun group of people to hang out with, whether it be for their live streams or even their said YouTube shorts and moments that they're able to bring into your homes. That'll definitely put a smile on your face and make you wonder, now how in the world were they able to break that? Chris Van Vliet. Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada indeed, Dan the Weatherman Stu, because Chris Van Vliet, somebody from Canada who was able to interview the biggest and the smallest stars that he could possibly get, including the likes of, and not limited to name drop who he was able to interview, the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, The Undertaker, Chelsea Green, Seth Metal Seth Rollins, even none other than, and apparently according to Call of the Maestro, somebody we were supposed to mention for yesterday's news, none other than Ludwig Kaiser, turtleneck and all, looking like an evil Bond villain. So yeah, and according to Call of the Maestro, would be the second person he would be able to interview with a turtleneck behind Christian, another evil Bond villain. Oh, Katie Cat! What name is that? Dan the Weatherman Stu is actually Katie Cat, the metal waifu guitar player who was able to come up with cool songs and give people a little bit of sunshine in their days being a VTuber. And as a matter of fact, would be the first VTuber we would actually nominate for this award, behind none other than Calliope Mori Sensei. I think that's how you say her name, and as a matter of fact, she's also nominated for the award as well too. So to save Dan the Weatherman Stu time of trying to figure out that name. And with all those nominees out of the way, Dan the Weatherman Stu, if you will, please read the winner for this year's Indie Most Interesting Person of 2024. And title that I almost screwed up, but just go read the winner, to fish me out of this hole I'm currently in. All right, and the winner for this year's Indie Most Interesting Person of 2024 award is... I don't want to read it. Every single year, you're afraid to open up the envelope. Give me the envelope and let me do it. Ladies and gentlemen, and award winners alike, this year's Indie Most Interesting Person of 2024 award winner is... drumroll please... Okay. Now I see the reason why he was afraid, because we found inside the envelope, there was no winner in here. It was just 4 cards with the word TikTok written on it in a red X. So once again, keeping his streak alive, none other than Karrion Kross, the winner for this year's Most Interesting Person of 2024. So congratulations, and once again, we have to evacuate this area because he knows our address. So if you will, Dan the Weatherman Stu, Carl, and the Maestro, I think it's time for us to go to that undisclosed location to continue the award show and hopefully not get attacked by the Herald of Doomsday himself. So, with that being said, I think it's time for us to scramble out of here. And when we return, folks, we'll be back with the final award of the night, the Music Village Differencemaker Award, as the 2025 11th Annual Indie Awards rolls on right after a word from our movie comedic sponsors. Carl and my show, Dan and Weatherman Stu, PR department, everybody else, let's get out of here. Move, move, move.
After a peaceful trip to the red planet of Mars goes horribly awry, one duck and an eager young space cadet is ordered to head there to bring them home safely. Bob Burton, Joe Alasky as Duck Dodgers in Duck Dodgers, the movie. Get ready to go on a space travel trip like no other this summer, coming soon to a theater near you.
Alright, all you award winners, nominees, and those who are currently gonna be involved in an after party after this is all said and done, welcome back to the 11th Annual 2025 Indie Awards. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we were able to relocate in enough time before our time ran out from that maniac, Killer Kross. And yeah, we might as well go by his actual name and not the one that WWE gave him, because, you know, Karrion doesn't sound too frightening, but Killer sure the hell does. But besides that bit of business, I still think it's pretty exciting that they're finally going to be creating a Duck Dodgers film. It's about time. It really is. And I can only imagine what Marvin the Martian's going to try to do this time. Is he going to have that PX-36 explosive space modulator with him? Is that gonna finally be included? Apparently, according to Carl and my show, they don't know, and you'll find out within the next 5 years. It's gonna take them that long. Ugh. But besides a 5-year wait for an awesome film, folks, I think it's time for us to go into our final award for the Indie Awards for this year, and possibly one of the most important. None other than the Music Village Differencemaker Award, which is an award, like John Walsh would say, or Need to Breathe would mention, it's somebody that definitely proves that you can make a difference in this world, even though things might not be all too sunshine and rainbows out there. But like Need to Breathe would say, you would prove that I am a difference maker. And I get better and better every year when I say it too. So Dan the Weatherman Stu, if you will, please read off the nominees. Nay, strike that. You know what? This year, every single last person who's going to be mentioned are all winners of the Music Village Differencemaker Award. And something we mentioned last year that, yeah, from this moment forward, anybody who's mentioned for this award is definitely a winner. So Dan the Weatherman Stu, if you will, please read off the winners for the Music Village Differencemaker Award for this year. And here are your winners for the Music Village Differencemaker Award. The People's Champ himself, The Rock. No surprise there. Yeah, Dan the Weatherman Stu, no surprise there. Not only a guy who was able to visit his old former high school football team, and a man who was even able to inspire others and be able to lift their spirits after tragic moments and make plenty of wishes from around the world. Someone who really does know how to make a difference out in the world outside of being a final boss in the ring. New Legacy Inc. Winning for the 10th time in a row. Well, technically the 11th time, but either way you look at it, the big boys and girls of New Legacy Inc., outside of bringing Glitchmo Squad moments in video games, are also able to help out other streamers to bring smiles and joy to others with charity streams that they would be able to pull off at a moment's notice. And people who definitely are cool and like the other side of the pillow, said Carl and the Maestro. Yeah, best way to describe them. The Herald of Doomsday himself, Karrion Kross. How did he get it here? Well, Dan the Weatherman Stu, outside of providing words of inspiration for people every single day trying to get through it, a guy who was also able to help out people in the world of jiu-jitsu and was even someone who was a person with a very kind, and I do mean kind heart, outside of that very dangerous exterior. Diamond Dallas Page! Bang! You know Diamond Dallas Page? Apparently he does, and he got a belt signed by him, but we'll get into that later. And the reason why in the world Diamond Dallas Page is listed for this, folks, is because, well, Diamond Dallas Page is a man who can help people like Butterbean and even Jake the Snake Roberts, amongst others over the years, that definitely got him nominated years ago, but we completely forgot to add his name to the ballot box list. But I got a feeling with him being involved now, definitely proves that, yeah, diamonds are forever. Iron Mouse! A streamer that's a mouse. I thought you said you don't like mice. Dan Weatherman Stu, I said I don't like rats. I'm not a big fan of rats. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's a rat, and go for it outside of that. But outside of my hate for certain animals, Iron Mouse was somebody who was able to turn the streaming world upside down by not only donating several of hundreds of dollars to others for charities and streams, despite her condition, was still able to give back to others in the biggest ways known possible, proving that this Iron Mouse has a large iron heart. And I hope I'm wrong about that, because that would be frightening to have an iron heart. And Carl and Maestro said, well, no. Not really. She doesn't have an iron heart. And oh, we might as well include Connor into the mixes for this as well too, due to his charitable work that he's able to give out as well. Bandlish with the Bandmiss giveaway. Yep, the Bandmiss giveaway that he has every single year, giving back to those who are less fortunate, who watches his streams and does so with a smile on his face. And not to mention the man who's been streaming for well over 4 years for his day streak, something that we still talk about to this day, and hopefully one day can have him a part of the show for it. Well, not for 4 years, but explaining how tough it was to go through those 4-year processes. You know, if processes is such a word. Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters and those a part of the Wildfire. Yep, despite all the ups and downs and trials and tribulations of those in the world, the fact that everybody was able to get together to try to give back to the City of Angels after the wildfires that struck it definitely shows how awesome they are in their own unique ways as well too, and also proves that, yeah, in crisis, when the chips are down, we will all learn how to get together to bring each other back up in some way, shape, or form. And with all those winners read, folks, and with Carl and the Maestro giving me a little bit of a thumbs up, and I might as well give one to you fans at home too, because congratulations, you made it through. And for those who were able to make it through night 1 and night 2 simultaneously, you're a champion. You really are. Because this might have been one of the longest Indie Awards we've done to date, and Carl and the Maestro said it's the 5th longest. Well, it's still up there in the numbers. It really is. But besides my rambling about the length of this said award show, folks, unfortunately, we're out of awards, which means it's time for us to bring the Indie Awards for this year to an emphatic close. But don't worry, if you missed anything for this year's Indie Awards, we got you covered, because you can catch it again one more time, all the time, on our SoundCloud, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr pages, still all named the same, only known as Music Village Radio, under the hashtag 2025 Indie Awards Night 2. And I'm gonna try to include it in one giant oversized playlist, but according to SoundCloud, that might not be possible. So I guess you'll have to enjoy one half of a meatball sub and another half of another meatball sub. But either way, still very impressive. But besides me mentioning an award show that got split in half like a sandwich we ate prior to doing it, if you guys want to figure out what the crazy and zany things we still got prepared for this month of greatness heading directly into the month of madness, like an award show that most likely takes off half of my vocal cord strength by the end of it, then you can go ahead and check it out on our YouTube, Discord, and definitely our Twitter page, still all named the same, only known as the Double Agent 0012. And before we head out for the night, we'd like to thank, as always, you the fans out there for listening in to a Night 2 extravaganza of award ceremonies edition of the Indie Awards. And seriously, guys, after doing this for well over 11 years and you guys still tune in for this, definitely proves that the one night of my ultimate test of creativity is definitely worth the price of admission. And like always, guys, if you guys out there like what you heard, go out there and spread the word. You know what? Like Randy Orton when he won the Intercontinental Championship and started to celebrate with it with that cool entrance that he had. And even though Randy Orton doesn't like the song, Carl and the Maestro in the PR department is doing the Randy Orton pose under the indigo lights. And it looks pretty cool too. Really does. And we would also like to thank you, the independent artists out there, for doing that musical goodness like you always do. And keep up the great work, guys, because here's hoping by next year, not only for your cover work, but your actual musical work of originality, you can get listed for an Indie Award for it. Because we're hoping to expand the Indie Awards, you know? Not only outside of cover songs, original songs, but maybe in the future, even movies. Yeah, Indie Movie Award winner. I can see it. I can see it. And why? Because we believe in you guys. That's why. That's why. And if you don't believe me, there's awards over there that says otherwise. And speaking of people who deserve an award for their awesome music, we would like to thank our musical guests for the night, none other than Carl and the Maestro with their said songs of House Jammin' that was featured during the intro for this year's edition of the Indie Awards. And of course, for the song you're listening to right now in the background, none other than the Jazz Workshop presentation that's currently closing out the Indie Awards for this year. And like always, Carl and the Maestro, keep those musical hits coming, because you never know when we're going to need it next. And plus, we can't wait to hear what you got coming down the tubes next, too. So keep them coming. And finally, last but not least, we would like to thank you, the independent gamers out there, for coming out with all those sweet, sweet video game hits, clips, tracks, and stunts that we had a chance to mention during this entire Indie Awards. And yes, we gave you your props last night for all of your creativity, but seriously, thank you for all of this. And it took us a long time to truly try to pick a winner for all of them, which truly means that you guys are great at what you do. So keep it up, because you never know what show might be coming around the corner next and what award you might win for it. So keep them coming. Hint, 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 hint. And I guess with everybody thanked, and with Carl and the Maestro putting up the round of applause sign light for you fans here for the Indie Awards, I'm DJ Smokey on behalf of Carl and the Maestro, Dan the Weatherman Stu, which I thank you for tonight as well too, and of course the PR department and all of the nominees here in attendance in this live studio audience saying, get a look at greatness. But most importantly, when there's smoke, there's fire. And we'll see you guys next year for the 12th annual 2026 Indie Awards. But until then, good night from the 11th annual 2025 Indie Awards.